easily the largest draw of Xenoblade Chronicles 2 is the opportunity to explore the colossal beasts that are the Titans. These are creatures so large that life, and even entire civilizations, have sprung up on their backs, or in some cases inside their bellies. It's an incredibly bizarre but fascinating concept that I absolutely love. I really enjoy learning about the intricacies of this world and becoming enriched with each Titan's deep history. That is why I take so much interest in the Titans mentioned briefly in Xenoblade Chronicles 2, which we never get to physically visit in gameplay. They have such an air of mystery about them. So, in this video, I'm going to be going over everything known about these unseen Titans, as well as speculating on what we don't know. Before continuing, I must warn that there are moderate spoilers ahead for both the main game and mostly the DLC, Torna the Golden Country, which is where most of the information in this video originated from. With that out of the way, let's get to it with our first Titan, Specia. Contrary to the name of this video, Specia is actually seen in the opening cutscene of the prequel, Torna the Golden Country. But since we never get to physically visit the Titan, I'm going to include it on this list. As for what this scene tells us about Specia, we get scattered pieces of information. From the Titan's appearance, it seems to be a whale-type Titan, the same as Uriah and Tantal. You would assume this means that, like those Titans, people live inside its belly, but surprisingly this doesn't seem to be the case. For one, we can actually see its capital city on the creature's back, named Onranta. For this civilization to be present on the surface, it debunks the possibility of people living inside it instead. However, there is always the possibility that people live both inside it and on its back. As for the city itself, Onranta seems to have a very gothic, dark architectural style, with a large, jagged tower at its centre. Of course, this model is extremely low in detail as it was only used for this one specific, extremely short scene, so it's unlikely that designers put too much thought into these details. Another thing I'd like to point out is that earlier I said it was a whale-type Titan, like Uriah for example. But if you consult this map of Orest, which I will use from time to time in this video, we can actually translate one of these labels to read Specia, and the Titan shown appears much more like a manta ray, similar in appearance to Temperantia. Based on this evidence, Specia's exact shape is hard to pinpoint, but it seems to have a large, rounded torso and belly, with wings like a manta ray that extend outwards. It's somewhat of a cross between Uriah and Temperantia. Based on its size on this map, especially compared to some of these smaller Titans, we can also conclude that Specia was a Titan of extreme importance in terms of its military prowess and overall strength as a nation, being portrayed with the same significance as the powerhouses that are Torna and Moradane. Unfortunately, as is the focus of Torna's opening cutscene, there is a good reason we never get to physically visit the Titan of Specia. It was destroyed and it sunk beneath the Cloud Sea by Malos during the Aegis War. During the voiceover, Jin also claims that its destruction by Malos was covered up, being instead credited to the military forces of the Indoline Praetorium and Moradane. Its destruction took place in the year 3564. In terms of what is known about Specia, this is unfortunately where the details end. We really have no idea what it was like in terms of landscape, as the Titan shown in the opening cutscene is clearly untextured on its back, so any potential environments aren't visible. Whilst this is most likely just because the designers didn't want to waste time sculpting an environment for the Titan, as it would never be seen again, you could see this as evidence that more people lived on the interior of the Titan, where actual sculpted environments could be found. The next Titan, it could be argued, we know even less about. Again, concerning the Titan of Specia, I lied when I said that it was an unseen Titan. In fact, contrary to popular belief, we do actually get to play on this Titan during the final battle of Torna with Gort. Due to its heavily forested and green landscape, many people originally mistook the Titan that this battle took place on as being Gormott, a Titan from the same game with a very similar environment. As for how we know the Titan shown is Specia and not Gormott, the scene before Laura and the others got to this Titan, we witnessed Adam bid farewell to them in Gormott, informing them of a refugee camp for the now homeless Tornans that had been set up on the Titan of Specia. As for what is known about this Titan, there's not a whole lot. While we can't conclusively say what type of Titan it is, it's likely to be a similar type to Gormott. We know that its inhabitants live on its back, rather than its belly, meaning it's likely not a whale type. Also, since the environment shown is so similar to that of Gormott, albeit with seemingly larger forests, this could suggest that they are actually the same type of Titan, that being those which walk on four legs like most animals. As for the map, it's likely that Specia is the Titan shown here. Its proximity to Gormott is a key indicator that this Titan is Specia, as is the fact that it seemingly walks on four legs, although they are mostly hidden by the clouds on this map. Funnily enough, I find that the head of this Titan somewhat resembles a dodo. We also know that, as I briefly touched upon earlier, a huge refugee camp was set up on this Titan after the collapse of Torna. However, the fate of the refugees who fled here was likely very dark, as not long after Laura's second and final encounter with Gort, the newly appointed praetor Amalthus sent a great army here. It is during this conflict that Laura dies, but not before Jin confused with her heart, becoming a flesh-eater. It is unknown whether Amalthus's forces resulted in the total destruction of Specia, or whether it still lives on to this day, albeit likely in a damaged state, due to this conflict. Finally, although this is likely not of any significance, it's worth noting that Specia is the Piedmontanese word for spice, suggesting that spice may have been a big part of Specia's economy and culture. Its Japanese name, Sperantia, is the Latin word for hope. Finally, the last Titan referenced in Xenoblade Chronicles 2, and specifically Torna, the Golden Country, is Estem. Estem is by far the Titan we know the least about. In fact, all we really know is its name, and that it is likely a Titan. The Titan has actually been name-dropped 3 times, all in Torna. The first is when we meet the young Mikhail, who claims that he was sold to Feltli village from his birthplace, Estem. The second is when the NPC known as Martha talks of travelling through Estem, as well as numerous other Titans to document the unique monsters there. Finally, the NPC Fred also mentions that Estem was attacked in a similar fashion to Feltli village, which was razed to the ground not long ago. This suggests that Estem has been, in some capacity, destroyed. Unfortunately, this is the extent of what is known about the Titan. As for the map, many people speculate that Estem is this Titan, directly south of the World Tree, although I think this could be the Cliffs of Moratha instead. Its shape is really hard to discern, but it looks somewhat like a semicircle with a large protrusion on its back. The reason people speculate that this Titan is Estem is that all of the other Titans shown, or at least most of them, can be pretty comfortably matched to Titans we know about. So, with this being one of the only unmatched Titans on the map, it's fairly logical to assume that it could be Estem. Plus, it doesn't have a large label as a name, and since Estem is mentioned so infrequently, you would think it would be one of the smaller Titans which don't get as big a name because they're not seen in such high significance. I am well aware that this video was likely very short compared to my others, and I want to assure you that I found all the information I possibly could on these 3 Titans. I did a lot of research, but there just really isn't much to cover here, even though it's a topic I'm completely fascinated by. Unfortunately, with Estem especially, as I said, the information is very lacking. And with Xenoblade 2 having gotten Torna as a DLC years ago now, with seemingly no more DLCs planned, it's unlikely we will ever find out more about these mysterious Titans. Thanks for watching this video, everybody. I know that Xenoblade content is not what most people come to my channel for, and so I doubt this video will get too many views, but nonetheless, I hope that it appealed to even just a couple Xenoblade fans. It's a series I completely love, and so I will continue making videos about it, even if it's not the most popular content covered on my channel. Peace everyone, and I'll see you in the next one, which will be a Zelda video specifically. Bye!